what I want to get at is just because we broach this subject does not mean that we are against police, that we are against firefighters, that we are against EMTs and paramedics. We are not. This is just simply something to think about. If we had these things before taxation and property tax, why can we not have them now? This is what we have to think about. I am not against. In fact, I would love to see all police, fire, and rescue get paid what professional athletes get paid, and the professional athletes get paid what those people get paid now. I would be totally fine with that. But that's not the reality.
I don't know if you know,
I just don't want to see people have to pay for things because we are so overtaxed.
I don't want to take it from people. I don't want to steal from people.
I would rather
and I'm
people
very black
give
and white about it. But reading right now is creating. They created and I don't know if you know this. They're reading emergency services along with the 5 fire departments in Hillsdale County are trying to. They're going to campaign this year to up their millage for the county millage. Right now, I think it was 2.5. I think I heard them say they want to push for 8.5. So they want to flip it 3 more times.
Threefold,
threefold, right? So they want to get a lot more money coming in, so they can pay the.
Well,
wages.
I want a lot more money coming in too.
Who
do I talk to about that?
You got a campaign. So yeah,
you got to get on the tax roll.
They're gonna campaign
head
around
over to the Community Action Agency, get my money.
Yeah, they're gonna campaign.
I don't have anything against them, just so you know.
They're probably gonna get this millage because they got what John and I call hero status, because you can't take money away from heroes.
Yeah, you don't dare say anything bad.
The thing is
that makes you a bad person.
The gentleman that runs that reading EMS was on with Corey on Facebook on a live video feed with Scott Freeze from my township fire chief, Corey Murray. He's the
you know who he is, Hillsdale Daily News guy.
Yeah, he's a reporter.
He knows how to create controversy.
Yeah, sometimes. So
sometimes you got it too.
I love watching him smoke live on Facebook. You know what I mean? It's like the best.
What's funny is
I can't smoke, so I'll just watch somebody else do it. Right? You know,
it's
like I probably shouldn't be smoking right now, but I am.
Well, what's funny is
talk about somebody who does not care. I love it.
Yeah, that's how I used to get my nicotine fix without paying for it. When everybody go out to smoke, I just stand in the middle of it, get that secondhand smoke.
What's funny is one day I looked at his page for whatever reason, and he's got a middle finger up in the picture, and I'm like, this is the reporter. Like, is that acceptable as a reporter? I couldn't believe it.
The answer to that question is yes.
So I was like really surprised. Well,
as long as I'm also holding one. No, I'm just kidding.
So the reading.
I didn't know where to go with that joke.
The reading.
It was a good try though.
The reading EMS guy, which I didn't catch his name. What he was saying was, we were talking about wages.
$15 an hour.
Okay, so the reading.
Gosh, I wish I made that much.
The reading EMS guy, the guy that was, I don't know if he was a spokesperson or if he's the director or whatever.
People think I do, but I don't.
Yeah, because you got an Apple Watch on.
Yeah, no, seriously though. Like I like tech stuff.
Well, he was saying that
people are very prejudiced.
The paramedics, because they go to school, paramedics go.
You got like a Model A over there.
Yeah, no doubt. But paramedics go to school for a couple years, and they spend their own money on like $5,000 for the certificates. They buy a lot of their own gear, and they make $15 an hour for their job. And he was saying that's not enough money. And I'm thinking, well, I'm looking around at my neighbors and my friends and family in the community. I'm like, they're not making $15 an hour.
Go do something that pays more.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
if you don't like how much you're making, go find a job that pays more.
Well, Corey was saying like a lot of the factories around town are paying $15 an hour. So
that's directed at everybody, not just firefighters.
Sure.
Or whatever.
So, but Corey was.
You'll still get bad mail.
You'll still get bad mail. Spring up on Facebook, like anti-fireman Sam Nutter.
We'll watch what happens to his church.
Well, what Corey was alluding to is that
gotta make sure my insurance is up to date.
In your opinion, or John, is as a paramedic, more should make that much more than say that the next person. Like are these jobs subject to making more money?
A paramedic should pay exactly as much as everybody's willing to pay them, or should make as much as everybody's willing to pay them.
That's right. I would agree with that. So like what they're trying to do is up their millage to pay a higher wage to the paramedics. So everybody's going to, they're going to take this campaign and they're going to go around campaigning politically, even though we elect a board and they hire these chiefs and they're going to go around and promote this millage through the communities. And to me, obviously, you know that I think taxation is theft. So this is just going to be more.
I hadn't caught that.
Yeah. So this is going to be $45 per person per year is what the reading guy said.
And
$45.
the attitude is it's only $45.
It's like 2 months of Netflix. What's wrong with these people?
I know, but everybody goes, well, it's only like $45. It's not that much.
$45 is
that's worth one ride in the ambulance.
Enough to notice.
Well, that's one
for some people. Now, for other people, 45.
And for the
might not be
record, I am
anything.
speaking at like completely divorced from the reality of this being EMS stuff. Just so you know, like the things that I say have to do with people and how much money they want. That's what I'm talking about.
See, you have to be worried about the perception.
I'm not worried. I'm just making myself clear that I'm not talking about this. I'm talking in a very much like way different level.
You know, I know
he doesn't want to end up at the restaurant at the same table we are.
Well, I know the reality is you got to make more than $15 an hour to survive. I already.
Is that an invitation? I'm going to start getting tickets all of a sudden.
The reality is, I know it takes more than $15 an hour to live comfortably. I know that, right?
Yeah.
But I would say a lot of people in Hillsdale County, maybe even the majority, don't make that much money. So he was saying
31% poverty.
He was saying that the paramedics have to get second jobs and third jobs. I'm thinking, looking at my friends and family around me, and I'm like, well, they do too. You know, like we're all in the same boat. Like so, like what they're going to go around doing is actually going around steal for everybody to pay for their wages. And I thought that was sort of bizarre that that's what they're doing, and that's what I'm seeing.
People don't know any better.
Well, of course.
Well, it's because anybody that's been born after 1913 doesn't know what true liberty is because they've never been part of it. Even these people that think that they understand the Constitution that are pretty good conservatives, I talk to, and they always keep falling back to this, well, as long as the majority wants it. Well, what if the majority wants to kill one person? Is that okay then? You know, and everybody goes, but they all go, oh, now you're taking it too far.
As long as it's not me, it's okay.
But that's it. We are so ingrained into this direct democracy, and we believe that that's what America is, and we believe that that's the freedom.
We think it's virtuous.
That's because we've been told that, right? And it's not. We are not back to true liberty.
So back to the thing about the millage. I'm not constituted in a way where I would go out and try to fight it, right?
No. Yeah, I'm not either. Either. We're not fighting that millage. We disagree with it. We're not going to go campaign.
Not vote for it or whatever. But what I would say is, it's just another example of just if we believe that things should be different, then we need to educate people. We need to do this or spread the knowledge.
Now let me explain. If they were coming around doing that millage thing, saying we want the millage. Here's what I would say.
Why don't they just go around to everybody's door, save time, and just ask for $45?
Right, but my thing would be this.
That's a joke, by the way.
I would pay them $90 because I know my neighbor probably
could do that. I'd make more money if I just went and asked people for it. What do you think?
What happened to that? You would. What happened to that, Sam? That's how they used to do it, right?
Well, they do that in Chicago on the streets.
What happened?
But let me
to that fundraising.
I'm talking about people wanting money.
But let's say they come around and they are pushing for this millage.
Right.
It might be
for
easier.
Me,
sometimes millages would be easier if you just asked people for money.
Right, but if they would come around and say, okay, you can vote for the millage for your property, but it's not going to go on your neighbor unless they vote for it too.
Vote for it.
Then I would vote for it. I would vote for it for me because I can afford that. That's not a big deal. I won't vote for it if I think it's going to put a hardship on somebody else. I just won't do it.
We have computers, Sam.
That's right.
We can
have the ability to do this.
We have the ability.
Why
to do
can't
that.
I just go, okay, I want to vote for it to put that onto my deed, my property, as long as I own it. I'll pay that extra for fire EMS, because they come around and ask. I buy whatever they're selling when they come around. When I see them out at the corner with their boots, I put money in.
We're beating the pastor up.
I would do that.
We're beating the pastor up. Let's move forward.
I don't feel beat up.
Sam.
Well,
so you
oh no, he scrolled down.
You told me that since you've been in the government, everything's like awesome. So
yeah, that's my exact wording.
What this was the last question I actually had for you was what issues have been uncomfortable that you've ran into? I think we talked about actually one topic that you sort of had a dilemma with a driveway. Because you're in the planning commission, right? Like, and you guys have opinions on how, like, maybe driveways are put in.
He sharpened his knife.
Well, not opinions, ordinances and stuff like that, right?
Isn't that an opinion?
I have a hard time. Well, it was somebody's opinion at some time, and now it's written into code.
Now it's code.
But there is this tension in my mind between whether or not. Okay, so I live in town. I personally, myself, want to be able to call somebody and tell them to go tell my neighbor to get the mounds of trash out of their yard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, that's a good thing, right? That's why I live in a town instead of living out in the middle of nowhere. I don't really think, I've never thought about the moral ramifications of that until we started talking about it. Now, I've thought of it in terms of, like, I've heard it brought up and things like that. But I think, for me, I've chosen to live in town. I feel like I've chosen to subject myself to those ordinances.
Okay.
The Bible says that we are to obey every ordinance of men for the Lord's sake.
Okay.
It literally says that word for word,
yeah.
King James English, right? So for me...
Yeah, it didn't say that in Hebrew, but...
whatever. I was reading the Aramaic translation. Okay.
The Interlinear Bible.
I prefer Greek. I had my Hebrew translated into Greek so that I could translate it from that.
He was reading the Living Bible. He must have been reading the Living Bible on that one.
Yes. So my gut reaction to... Okay, so for instance, when it came to this driveway, which there's people that'll probably listen that'll know the incident that I'm talking about. But this individual was not allowed to build a roundabout driveway. Do I think that was right or wrong? Personally, I didn't care if he had a roundabout driveway. But the decision was made to not let him have one. I thought it was wrong, but those things happen.
Right. You're not going to agree 100% with everybody. Yeah. If you agree 80%, you're
but
doing
there
darn
are
good.
times when somebody wants to do something and I'm like, oh, God, I hope not. You know?
Well, with the driveway situation...
Like the city center thing, when they came to us the first time with a plan for it, right? They had this atrocious looking, like, I don't even remember what it looked like, but it was ugly. It was super ugly. Now, we didn't have the right to tell them what to do in that instance, but we kind of, like, it was sent back to them like, hey, can you try to, like, match... or
the architecture
feel
around it
different, than this. This is not really that great. And of course, the goal is to kind of reinvigorate that whole stretch from the library to the hospital, because it's a rough area. And so I was really excited. Now, I know the owner of the store that was there before. I'm good friend. I wouldn't say I'm good friends, but I consider him to be a friend, at least in the casual sense.
That's where you bought all your
the
beer.
Word. Right. So, anyway, I can neither confirm nor deny. So anyway,
I only did that because you're Baptist.
Right. So I know him, and I talked to him, and I expressed my sympathy for a situation. But in my gut, I was happy that the government didn't force him to move.
No,
the owner of the property did.
Yeah.
Right. But I was happy. I'm happy with how it turned out, because he took up another space in that Hungry Howie's lot there that was empty for so long. Right. And now we have this beautiful apartment complex that was mostly built nicely. I mean, there's a few little things I think architecturally that could have been better.
I thought they did a pretty good job. I mean, I watched what they were doing.
There's cracks in some of the cement and stuff, and I'm saying this publicly because I think it should be noted. But because they should do better next time.
Well, we're dealing with that driveway situation, because that's...
But it's a beautiful building. It's
it's
a pretty decently classy
and it fits
building.
in well.
Yeah.
It fits in well.
John and I deal more... A lot of times we deal with like a personal issue, like in Adams Township, we're dealing with one person on a blight ordinance. So it's very local. It's very intimate with a citizen. Like, obviously, you had a driveway.
It's very targeted.
Yeah, it's very targeted. Like right in your situation, that might have been slightly uncomfortable is you're dealing with a guy with a roundabout driveway. Something that should be like simple. Something that would be. What was the disagreement as far as like why? What was the problem with what's the problem with having a roundabout driveway?
I don't remember all the specifications, but essentially it came down to it was not allowed on that kind of street in that kind of area with the amount of frontage on the property or whatever it was.
Was it?
I'm
John,
sorry,
stop,
I couldn't hold it back.
Stop, John. Sam, I'm not saying I wish I had this. I wish we had this on camera so people could see Sam's face, because he's saying it with such sarcasm.
I couldn't help it.
Right.
I'm sorry.
But the thing is that there are situations where I feel like yes, let's not let this guy do this because this is a stupid idea.
So,
I don't know the moral ramifications of that, but I know that in that job, my job is I view my job as to make the best choice for the city of Hillsdale.
Do you ever have to go home and go like, God, give me guidance in this in the moral field of doing this political position?
Or just don't strike me with lightning while I go out to my car.
Right. Well, no. One thing that's come up in the Planning Commission is how to address the legal use of medical marijuana and the use of plants and by plants I mean places that manufacture or distribute.
This is actually. I'm glad you brought this up because they just recently voted.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
I was in favor of that 100%. I was in favor of us opening up our community to something that is already happening in our community, like the building that wanted to make more or to grow more is already growing. Right. Yeah. So all these crazy mothers, and yes, I'm calling you crazy because you're short-sighted, and I will say that on the record, short-sighted, and you're just hysterical about an issue that there's just no critical thinking about. Like, I don't want my kids playing with metal residue or oil or plastic chemicals and things like that. And I also don't want my kids, and I don't have kids, all the mothers are like, yeah, see, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. But they probably don't listen to this podcast, so it's all right. So
they hear about it.
I don't want my kids playing in those things either. But that's why we do it in factories.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is
that's why we.
I think it should have been allowed to. I think the city of Hillsdale needs to address this earnestly. I think that we need to.
I think we need a better demonstration. I was talking to.
We're either open for business or we're not. We're either open for business. See, we say we're open for business, and then we're like, but not you.
But
not you.
But that's because we've got.
And I have a problem with that.
But that's because we've got this lack of critical thinking, and
people hear weed and they're like, oh, it's bad, so therefore we're gonna like not grow, or we're gonna shut everything down and no. But this is a commercial thing. It's happening anyway, and if we don't get ahead of it as people and decide, okay, how do we handle this right? Because it's going to be out of our hands.
Well, they're anticipating that it's getting into their community too.
That's not how it works.
This medical marijuana was not. This cannabis is not coming onto the streets, like coming out of the warehouse and getting into the kids' playground.
We have the plants in the yard.
It's going directly to the state. So like
I don't know all the ramifications.
This is what it is.
All I'm saying is a general principle. I think the idea that this is something that we are going to exclude from our community for the safety of our children.
Well, let me tell you how quick.
Ridiculous.
But every time we do that, we always bring in for the safety of the children.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we get John.
I'm just going to let you know right now, your kids are going to know what it is anyway.
Yeah, John and I get the children and safety card.
Well,
all the time.
I got that one time. Somebody said, "Oh, I don't want that coming in because I don't want my kids smoking pot." I said, "Okay, are your kids going to drink beer?" Well, no. Well, then why would they be smoking pot? Right? If the beer's regulated and you can't buy it unless you're 21, why are your kids going to be drinking? You're going to teach your kids not to drink before they're 21, right? So are you not going to teach your kids that pot's wrong? So this idea of, well, I don't want my kids smoking it speaks more to you as a parent than it does for whether it's being grown legally or illegally.
Regardless, I'll explain it real quick. All it is it's a base for people to, like a factory is a big location so they can grow a lot of marijuana plants. The distribution will go right to the state, whether it be Lansing or where the distribution place is that's going to deliver it.
But first, it's going to go to a purity, and that was one of the whole things.
That's irrelevant. Why would that matter?
But still,
let's to the state.
But still, let's look at this. The same people that oppose this, would they want to get their Vicodin that's prescribed by a doctor and know that it is the same Vicodin?
Well, that's why that's why pharmacists are regulated
right?
too.
So the same thing goes for people who want medical marijuana. Shouldn't they know that it's been grown without pesticide, that it's been tested, that the dose that they're taking is the right dose?
I mean, it's
each and every time.
That's irrelevant.
I have no
but
idea.
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
Not a grower.
But still, I know it's irrelevant to that. But the fact of the matter is, these same people that oppose that.
By the way, everybody listening, you're welcome for me bringing up this topic because I know it's what all of you wanted to hear about.
So the same people that are opposed to that are the same people that want to make sure that their drugs are regulated by the FDA so that they're getting exactly what they're supposed to when they go to the pharmacy. Well, shouldn't your neighbor have the same courtesy for medical marijuana? Shouldn't they have the same thing?
And we won't. Well, let's not dive into this.
I was more like into the only reason I brought it up is because I thought that was an opportunity that we could have had some economic development.
Oh, absolutely.
And I just think that people are like reacting to buzzwords and things like that.
And I think
reacting
people
to
think
emotion
my
rather
opinion,
than logic.
And I could be wrong.
It's
you
acting
could
out of
be
emotion.
right.
They're dealing with their passion rather than their reason. And what did Madison tell us about that, right? He said your reason needs to control your passion if you're going to seek the beautiful.
And with that being said, it's not coming onto the streets. I think a lot of people, when they think of marijuana in particular, that it's just coming onto their streets one way or another. And that's what Tim Parker was saying about the dispensary down in Reading. Reading's opening a dispensary.
Can you write that quote down?
What's that?
The one you
Madison.
Oh, for Madison? Okay.
So there's a dispensary opening in Reading, and Tim Parker is very biased towards marijuana, and he's saying that it's going to cause all kinds of crimes and stuff like that.
He's biased against it?
Yeah, he's biased against it. So that's actually a scary thought. If you had to go get your medicine at the dispensary, if the sheriff department's going to be hiding out across the street ready to tag you.
I think they have better things to do.
Yeah, but when you have a sheriff,
and I say that in a way like I think they actually are doing other things
Tim
for the
Parker.
most part.
I think it's fair that Tim Parker has a viewpoint on that, but as the sheriff, should not publicly have a viewpoint like that about medical marijuana that's legalized through the state.
No, I think it's. I think
why
it's
can't
fine
he
that
have a public
I think
opinion?
that he's fine that he should have a public opinion. The fact of the matter is, he still has to do what's constitutional, what he took an oath to do.
He
can have an opinion, but he has to follow his oath.
What I'm saying is, those people could be scared that they're going to be arrested, right?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they would be being arrested for. If you got a sheriff
that openly talks about how he's hard on drugs, that he thinks that there's going to cause more crime, we don't want it here. We shouldn't have it here. That they're going to have more crime, so he's going to patrol more down there. Mm-hmm. Should they not be worried when they go pick up their medicine?
Not if they're following the law.
Not necessarily. That's a little bit naive.
That's
because there are people. There are people that have the medical
naivety is the key to happiness.
All right, let's stop. Let's get off marijuana.
Let's leave that alone.
And I want you to talk about your Kimball Camp, because this is actually something
Kimball Camp. Okay.
So
I'm the program director at Kimball Camp. I have been for
what is it?
A couple months.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Kimball Camp is got to pay the bills, right? Okay. Yeah. So
I used to do high ropes.
It's been around for a long time.
Can you go if you're not part of the church?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
This is not a.
You just have to get at the back of the line.
It's not controlled by any church. No, but we have summer camp coming up. There's opportunities starting on the 23rd, I believe it is. We have candy sales, and so kids can literally earn their way to camp. Now some do exceptionally well and make so much money that they have enough for retreats after summer's over. Some of the kids that are coming to our winter retreat this coming weekend, they raised the money. They raised too much money for summer camp, and so they had some left over, so they're paying for it that way. So you can do that. Some people aren't good at selling candy, but some kids are exceptionally good at it. We have 5 or 6 weeks of pretty structured camp. We also have day camp every day. That's Monday through Friday in the summertime from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. So that's most of the day, and that's actually not that expensive. 1 week is $99, 2 weeks is $170.
So is this like an overnight camp?
We have overnight camps, and then we have day camp, and then we have other things for older kids. We have New Adventure Camp for 12 to 17-year-olds, and cheer and dance camp. And
I see this brochure.
So there's general camp where you come and you just do a
thing.
There's
all kinds of options here.
Things like horse camp. And
so anybody? Okay, so I have 2 kids.
Also, I'm trying to hire people right now. So if you are a young person who wants to be a counselor in training or a counselor, you have to be over 18 for that. We're looking for people, good people. The website is kimballcamp.com. Yeah, if you go there, you can fill out a job application for any job that we have available. But we're hiring right now.
Sam,
for spring and summer.
I'm looking at this brochure, and it looks like there's a ton of stuff to do. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of different options here. Looks like there's all kinds of age brackets. It looks like the youngest being maybe 6. But it looks like there's a lot of things you could do at this camp. A lot of physical activities for the kids, playing in the water, horseback riding. I've seen some whitewater rafting. I don't know what this is.
Everything that we do is designed to stretch young people. It's designed to get them out of their comfort zone and to get them
activity-wise?
Yeah, to get them to just push them a little bit. So for instance, so some kids are afraid of being away from their parents, so they come to day camp and they're there from the morning until, and we actually pick up kids for day camp. So there's different hot spots where we can pick up from this town or this town.
Like what your mom used to do with the bus?
Yeah, exactly. Only it's in the summertime.
Oh, cool.
So that kid can get just a little experience being away from mom and dad, away from being around other kids, and
just
doing
getting
things.
comfortable with that.
And then some kids, the big step is going overnight. I'm going to go overnight, and that's a big step for them, being away from mom and dad. That maturity aspect where they come back different. Kids that have never spent the night somewhere overnight, after they do, there is a maturity difference. In them,
it's getting
for the
out,
most part.
It's growth.
Not every kid. This isn't like a.
Well, people grow when they get out of their comfort zone.
Your results may vary. But, a climbing wall, okay, so you don't think you can climb to the top. Okay, get on the wall.
Just get up halfway.
How high can you go?
Yeah.
And pushing those boundaries.
Now, is this expensive? Is this something that costs a lot for kids to do? Or
Well, day camp is really cheap. It's $170 for 2 weeks, $99 for 1 week. And again, you can raise the money. Your child.
So that would be the best option, is to get your kids raising the money.
Take your kid out there and let them raise the money. Call grandma. But generally, a regular week camp is somewhere in the ballpark of like $220 to $260 or $70 around there, and that's just a matter of depending on the camp week or whatever. But that would be an overnight camp.
And we're talking like weeks here. I mean, I took my kids to one of those trampoline places, like a Sky Zone or what do you want to call them, where the whole. I mean, that cost me $200 for a couple hours.
Wow.
So like.
Yeah, for $200 you could not see your kids for 5 days.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
So this is.
And will the duct tape marks be gone?
This is really affordable, and plus they can raise the money, which is probably
that's like
the best way of doing it.
It starts the 23rd. So if someone were to call the camp, and you can call the camp 517-283-2168. If you call the camp, you'll be put in touch with a candy mom, and the candy mom will make sure that you're stocked with candy, and your child can sell.
John, read that number one more time.
The phone number is 517-283-2168.
2168, yeah.
And
KimballCamp.com.
KimballCamp.com. And I'm looking at the brochure, guys, and it really looks awesome. I got two. Well, I got 3 kids, but I think my one's not old enough to come to this. But my other 2, well, no, it looks like day camp's 4 years old, so she can go. So I had 3 kids, and this is something that I'm definitely going to see about. I'm going to try to get them to sell some candy and get them signed up, because this looks quite amazing, and my kids definitely need to get off the tablet, get off the computer.
Well, when I used to do high ropes, I went out to Kimball Camp. They've got an excellent high ropes course out there.
Yeah, they showed on the brochure here.
Very well
How long
put
ago have you been out there? Because they've had
a
new one within the last 15 years or so.
Really? Because I guess it's been about.
They've been there since the 40s.
That hurt. That hurt.
They've been around longer than that. I don't know about you, but
yeah. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up, guys. Sam, is there anything else that you topic-wise that you want to talk about here?
Topic-wise, go out there and listen to things and learn things, and always be, not always. Sometimes you just have to a lot of times I hate to have blank space where I'm doing something and I'm not listening to something. When I'm working, I like to have something on. I'll have a radio show or a podcast or a book, an audio book or something like that. Not last year, the year before, I read 50 books. Now, I didn't sit and read 50 books, but I heard and absorbed 50 books,
sure.
And that's a lot of books. Well, I can do that because we live in a time when we have the technology to listen
easy
to
access.
stuff. And I drive a lot. I drive I don't know, I probably drove 12 hours last week. I just do a lot of driving to move stuff around and to get things done.
Portion taxes, you're paying for a lot of roads.
Yeah, I pay for a lot of roads. So. But be a voracious learner, but take time to breathe. Expand yourself. Don't be afraid of pain. Don't be afraid of difficulty. Difficulty means you're headed somewhere. If you're not moving, you're not going to run into difficulty. When you're accomplishing something, you're going to run into difficulty. And that's not just like work life, that's like relationship life. Every time that you have a dispute with your spouse, that is an opportunity for intimacy. That's an opportunity for intimacy, because what has been revealed is something about you that they don't like, or something about them that you don't like.
See, I try not to do that anymore because I don't have a dog to feed my food to before I eat.
That's an opportunity. I would only understand that if I was married. That's an opportunity, but that's an opportunity for you to get to know that person more.
Mm-hmm.
When you have that mindset that every obstacle is an opportunity for intimacy with somebody, or an opportunity for growth, if it's not a personal person thing, then that changes your perspective. Then you can be that partaker of the affliction instead of that endurer. You embrace it. This is my struggle. This is my life. These are my choices. I may choose today to do something I don't want to do because that is the right thing for me to do for that other person. I may put myself in an uncomfortable situation because I love other people, or I may not because I may just need to break today. But being confident and speaking into your life truth and positive things, and not crazy like stuff, but stuff that is just real. I mean, it's a matter of perspective, and I can't think of anything that's more important than than just trusting your gut. Trusting when you take in a lot of information and you're reading and you're learning all the time, you can trust your gut. And Trump is quoted by the individual that opens his broadcast or ends them by saying, "If you're hearing this transmission, you are the resistance."
That's Alex Jones. Yeah.
In case you didn't know. But anyway, he I heard him one day, and I don't listen to him all the time, but I find people with passion to be interesting to listen to. And he said one day that Trump, this is a quote of Trump, and I've never heard Trump say this, but Trump had said supposedly that the deepest thing he learned was to go shallow. And what he means by that is not that there is no depth. There's depth, but you trust to the gut level. Like, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. If you're putting good information into your mind and your body and your soul, then when your gut says don't do that, don't do it.
Well,
and when your gut says do it, do it.
Well,
no matter what anybody thinks, whatever anybody feels, or whatever.
Right, more times than not. Like when you start,
because your gut is your body, your brain releasing a chemical into your body that says this is the thing you should do.
No, wait a minute.
And your brain has figured out, because it's doing things that you could never know or be conscious of, based on the information that you take in.
But there's the key.
You have to take in good information.
Because people that are following their gut, that are putting in garbage,
don't follow your gut if you watch like TMZ. Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's the whole thing. Because
it's what you're.
Do you know what
in.
TMZ is? I'm just the look on his face was like, oh
no.
Well, he's not that old.
No, yeah, but no.
I don't watch TMZ.
Is that
so
what I was looking at? Is
would that correlate with like food too? Would you think? I mean, like you putting it like me. I put in a lot of garbage in my body, so my body's responding. So if I'm putting a lot of like garbage, like movies or propaganda and stuff like that, it's going to be the same concept, right?
You have to manage your emotions. So if you're having a bad day, do not put on sad music. Put on peppy music. If you're having a great day and you're a little too much, sometimes you need to like tone it down a little bit. You have to manage who you are. You manage your reality.
I never even put that with like perspective with what you bring into your brain is sort of like what you're eating. I didn't even think about.
I know that's all a true principle.
I understand the propaganda. I stopped watching regular TV about 10 years ago. So I stopped watching that kind of stuff, but I still watch movies. But I even stopped watching movies about last year, and now I only, as John knows, I'm like reading old dictionaries.
Now I just binge on Netflix TV shows.
Yeah. He reads 1844 dictionaries.
Yeah, I'm like reading old school books.
I'm glad somebody's doing that. Some dead guy's like, yes, I'm being read again.
I can't stop. Like I don't know if that's it's a guilty pleasure.
That's great, but not everybody's going to be like that.
Right, of course.
So stretch yourself.
Sure,
is all I'm saying.
That is a stretch.
Stretch yourself.
People,
everything
things are going to stretch people differently.
Yeah,
and that's a stretch for him.
Yeah.
So he is out of his.
You should have seen what
zone.
I was 2 years ago, man. Oh, nightmare.
I think I did see you 2 years ago. Almost everything that you and I want in life is right outside of our comfort zone.
Sure. I would agree with that too.
Sure, you have to get outside your comfort zone. I mean, that's why they call it growing pains, right?
Also,
they don't call it growing pleasures.
Like.
It's growing pains.
Knowledge rushing in to fill a gap. Right?
As me and my neighbor are sitting together while he's drinking beer and I'm sitting in my pity, we always have these conversations, right? We always have these like really intimate conversations with each other, and we know each other pretty well.
Even though the words are slurred.
They are. And a lot of times he doesn't remember them, but whatever. But are
you talking about your neighbor again, the drunk neighbor?
Yeah,
this poor guy. I hope he never hears this podcast.
He only listens to like the first minute or two.
I can't believe they're talking about him.
He listens to the first minute or two, and he's like, "This is boring."
So he's not here so far.
Yeah.
If you've made it this far, you're part of the resistance.
Well,
If you've made it this far, you are no.
By the way, I planned on bringing that up because I was about 85% sure one of you listened to Alex Jones, and I wanted to out you.
I don't.
John and I both stopped listening to him a while back. Not to say that,
and I have only heard him just a few times.
It's not that we wouldn't listen to him again or anything of that nature. It's just we feel that we've.
I enjoy seeing the way he thinks, but I also I will be a negative person if I listen to that all the time.
Yeah, he puts just like you said. In what comes in goes out.
Yeah,
so
I mean, everything's good in moderation.
You got to do.
I told you these people are evil. It's like, okay, well,
it's moderation.
I'm just trying to drink my coffee.
It's just moderation. That's all. So, but he always talks about contentment. Like contentment with finances, contentment in his relationship, contentment with alcohol. So it's just finding.
I bet he's really content with alcohol.
Yeah, it's just finding his contentment, and he's
so much more content when he drinks.
The Bible says godliness with contentment is great gain. If you're content with your crappy life, that is not good. If you're content with what you're doing, I'm doing right, I'm headed in the right direction. This is a phrase this is a quote everybody should write down, and this is this: that God is you should be most concerned with your disposition, not your position. In other words, God is more concerned, and I should be more concerned with where I'm headed, not where I am now, right? Because I'm going to look back in 10 years and go, oh my goodness. But am I headed in the right direction?
The journey is always more important than the destination.
We get so bogged down with where we are. I'm not where I want to be financially in my life. Most people would say that, I'm not where I am relationally right now. I don't have the relationship that I long for and want and don't fall asleep at night sometimes for, right? But am I headed in the right direction? Am I reading books on how to be a good spouse? Am I taking in good information? Am I saving money every month? Where am I headed directionally? And that's, if you focus directionally on that, and that's the only way to get through being the resistance is are we heading there? Are people learning? Are people growing? Because the reality of it is, and most likely I'm going to die, and all the things that you want to happen in this country will probably not be done by the time that happens. But some of them might.
But when you
my thing is I believe that just because we know prophecy doesn't mean that we shouldn't speak against that which is evil. So, and I get this a lot. I got this in the Baptist Church.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Why even fight that? Because you know what's going to happen. Well, that doesn't.
It's called the abandonment theology.
Yeah, it doesn't. That doesn't relieve me from the duty to fight against what is evil.
You got that word in twice today.
I know I did, didn't I?
I said it more than twice.
To say what is evil. I have a duty to say what is evil. I have a duty to point that out. Even if I know that it's not going to change, I still have to call it out for what it is.
We get that a lot. John and I get that. Why does it matter?
Yeah, why are you even, why do you, you're not going to change it.
Yeah, our wives are like, why, this equipment costs a lot of money. Why'd you guys even bother?
Yeah.
I'm about to steal one of these mics. If one of them comes up missing, you better come find me.
Well, the only problem is this house is protected by 357.
Well, I'll bring my guns. We'll have a fight.
Sam, right. I want to extend.
You would enjoy that way too much.
Yes, I would.
Not even threaten that.
Well, I just want to
let people that are like, yeah, do it, shoot him, yeah.
Sam, I want to let you know that you're more than welcome to use this.
Yeah, anytime.
Anytime. If you want to do a Sam show, or if you want to come in and we do a regular show, and we'll let you direct it, or you choose the topics.
Even if you want to do an ad for the church and you want to put it on the radio and you want to do it here, so yeah, that's fine.
You can
go ahead. You record it here.
Jesus, what are you going to break your tablet?
I'm trying to.
well,
things are happening, folks.
Sorry, I said Jesus. Oh man, I got to change.
I like that name. What's wrong with that name?
So you're more than welcome to use our equipment anytime. If you want to make a show and you want to start doing something on your own, or you want to do something with us, just let us know. We're willing to extend that to you. I think this is a great tool because a lot of people, like you said, listen to podcasts and various different things. So we're obviously moving into the future. The only thing that we kind of, unfortunately, is Hillsdale's kind of behind the time. And so
so it ain't so.
Some Canadian is listening to this podcast.
So reaching a target audience can be difficult.
Like Hillsdale, Ontario. Honey, I didn't know we had that mayor. What's going on?
So getting there.
Somebody tried to grow pot in our city? What?
So they should have just went out to the woods where it grows natural.
Getting the target audience is obviously the goal, right? So John and I just love doing this. We like throwing up questions. We like politically being activists. We
like a little bit of controversy.
Yeah, we like being activists.
I would have never guessed.
So I just
so do I, obviously, since I had both of the. Or I like. I was right in the middle of that whole sheriff thing for a while, and it was a lot of fun. That was a wild ride.
That was.
Let me tell you.
I
had so much fun. And
until you illegally put that sign out in your yard.
Well, thanks for coming and stealing it from me, by the way.
I didn't
Somebody
steal
stole
it.
your sign?
Somebody stole all my signs like the day after the election.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Not
Really?
kidding. I was very upset about it.
Maybe they went around just taking them down.
Well,
I don't know.
They belong to me, so...
Well, a couple days after the election, somebody went slashing my signs in North Adams. So
like, I don't need them anymore
ones.
anyway.
What if I wanted to take the graphic off and put my own different graphic on there?
Put a yard sign on it.
I must say I had
sale.
great graphics for my campaign.
Well, they look like Eric's, if I'm not mistaken.
Eric
Lloyd.
Same colors.
Yeah,
Blue
yeah.
and green are like the best marketing colors.
I thought your name was
That's
like
what everybody
Eric
said.
Nutter.
That's what everybody was telling me. Oh, you got to have blue and orange. You got to have. I said, you know what?
Orange is
I'm
an
gonna have whatever I
ugly
want.
color for advertisement.
I'm going to have whatever I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did what we want. We thought,
I thought it was a great.
the heck?
John come up with the design. I thought it was a great design.
guys,
It was fun.
we're at 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Are we really?
Oh
We're
my
going to have to
goodness
split
gracious.
this up.
Well, everybody, I love you. God bless. You want to say goodbye, John?
Goodbye, John.
Goodbye, John. Sam?
Yeah. Come visit me at church.
Calvary Baptist Church?
Spring Street, Caddy Corner or Kitty Corner, depending on where you're from Geyer School.
You got a hill there. Make sure that snow is shoveled.
Yeah.
Right.
Or plowed.
Yeah,
so
it
people
is.
can get up in there.
Promise
Thank you,
me.
everybody, and have a great night.
Read
Thanks,
the
everybody.
Constitution.